Markets are starting out a bit riled this morning, or roiled. How would you say it? Both, maybe, huh? NSP Treasury yields up 7 basis points on the 10-year right now. Along similar lines, that would impact Tesla, of course, but Tesla is also likely to be flat to down this week in anticipation of a miss on Wednesday. It started down today and it's trying to get back to the green. We'll see what happens. We'll report more on that at the end. So from Mario Nawfal this morning, I'm going to start off with something a little different today because this was just so impactful to me. Hopefully it'll be impactful to you as well. Jonathan Turley says this: Elon couldn't be scared and they'll never forgive him for that. Who are they? Oh, it's like another scene out of Lord of the Flies. You have all the pundits and politicians chasing Elon Musk around the island, and people go into absolute vapors every time he talks about censorship or talks about Donald Trump. This turned on Musk when he bought Twitter and took down the censorship system. But most importantly, when he released the Twitter files, because many of us were testifying in Congress and Democratic members would say, you have no proof that there's any coordination between the government and these companies. And then Elon Musk supplied the proof with thousands of emails coming from government officials and offices and over 80 FBI agents targeting individuals and groups for censorship. They never forgave him for that. And you have this bizarre situation where you have CEOs that openly support Harris, openly support extremely far left policies, but there's not a peep about them. But there is this Musk mania, which has overwhelmed the media recently. They've already done everything they could, short of throwing him into a wood chipper. They've targeted his revenue. They've targeted his companies. They've targeted his advertisers. In my book, so Turley's got a book out. He wants to talk about it. The Indispensable Right. I talk about Musk, and love him or hate him, he's without question the most consequential figure in free speech of our generation. Can anybody question that? Is there any doubt about that? I think he's done more for free speech than any living person today. Didn't he just say that? In some ways, he's actually stopped the progress of the anti-free speech movement by releasing the Twitter files. But he's really the immovable object this irresistible force encountered, and they won't forgive him for it. All their CEOs caved. People like Zuckerberg and others, they caved like a house of cards. But they finally found somebody who couldn't be coerced, couldn't be threatened, and couldn't be scared, and they won't forgive him for that. Well, this didn't take long. Squawk Square says this morning, earnings Wednesday prediction. Number one, if Elon is on the call, the stock will be down again. If Elon is too busy on the campaign trail breaking laws and can't make it to the call, Tesla goes up. I guess maybe Squawk has decided to listen to this channel, maybe, since I said yesterday the very same thing, or virtually the same thing. But in the meantime, he, unfortunately, because Squawk Square does this, he thinks that Elon is breaking the law by doing this effort with the $1 million giveaway. I explained yesterday in great detail. If you want to go back and take a look at last night's, I gave you my best legal interpretation, not a lawyer here. It's not legal advice, but I gave you my best legal interpretation that as long as they're doing it right, the right way, they're not breaking the law by offering people an opportunity to win $1 million when they sign a petition. So over the weekend, online chatter suggested that the Tesla Shanghai plant is about to start low-level production of the updated Juniper Model Y. That might indicate that actual deliveries in China by early 2025. It's unclear when Tesla's Berlin and Austin plants might begin output. By the way, I think this is from Teslarati. Like the Model S, X, and 3 updates, which didn't boost sales much, the Juniper Model Y likely will have cosmetic exterior changes. No, you know what? This is probably from not Electrek, because you can tell the mood. So the Model 3, update has had, I think, pretty significant impact on Model 3 sales. This is from Investors Business Daily. Tesla earnings. Tesla earnings are expected to fall 9%. This is year over year, which will be the fifth straight year-over-year decline, though much smaller than the prior 4 quarters. Sales growth should climb 9%, buoyed by China deliveries. But the focus likely will be on Elon Musk and the Tesla earnings call. Investors and analysts may want some clues about the still unseen affordable vehicles set to start production in the first half of 2025. Any confirmation that the production of the Model Y refresh is starting or about to start would be welcome, certainly by me. Tesla stock rose 1.3 to 220 last week, but remains below its 50-day line. Shares have plunged 15.6 in October in the wake of less than stellar Q3 deliveries and the October 10 robotaxi event. Tesla stock has a 264 cup with handle buy point, 264.86. Investing.com says this way: Tesla stock performance following the upcoming Q3 earnings report will largely depend on its automotive gross margin, according to Piper Sandler. The electric vehicle maker, which reports results on Wednesday, has already seen its stock. We've already just said that. We expect third quarter 24 automotive gross margins, excluding regulatory credits, to rise 50 basis points to 15.1, said Piper Sandler, although they acknowledge the difficulty in confidently predicting margins. They add that if Tesla meets or exceeds these expectations, the stock could stabilize or even rise modestly. However, if gross margins disappoint, valuation could continue contracting for several months. Right now, I'm seeing that range, the range right now, I think after the, between now and the end of the year, back to 188 to 265. That's going to be the range. And it's going to depend on all the things we've been talking about. Now, of course, fully automated self-driving. Elon coming out and saying we're level 5, or you can sleep in the back seat. You know my line. If that happens, all bets are off. We're over 300. We're going to the races. Okay. I don't know if that's going to happen by the end of the year. I think it's getting less and less likely as we're at October 21 today, I think. Yeah, that's probably a first quarter thing. And when that happens, it'll be, all she wrote. So that's why I said yesterday, I'm not sure that these third quarter results matter much, at least if you're if you're holding and planning to hold, I think that's probably not going to matter. The firm emphasized that despite their overweight rating on the stock, near-term sentiment often hinges on automotive gross margin. Piper Sandler noted that metrics like robotaxis are still viewed as distant possibilities, leaving margin as the key driver right now in the stock market. I agree with that. Looking beyond Q3, the analysts stressed that investors are seeking reasons to become bullish on Tesla's 2025 and 2026 financial outlook. Regardless of the Q3 result, we think it's substantially bullish. Re-rating may not occur until investors have reason to boost estimates. Well, that's obvious. Potential catalysts for future optimism include the long-anticipated unveiling of the Model 2.5, a more affordable Tesla vehicle. And even more meaningful catalyst would be involve Tesla disclosing take rates for full self-driving. Yeah, that would be very, very helpful. I hope they start doing that. Piper Sandler said, particularly if that would be accompanied by regulatory approval for full self-driving in a new market such as China. Again, expecting those decisions about FSD in China and Europe first quarter. So the next 2.5 months on Tesla stock could be in the range that I just gave you. All right, this is Randy Kirk. Almost forgot to tell you that. Like, subscribe, notify Brian White, Larry Goldberg coming up later today, and of course, please join Patreon. The U.S. 10-year Treasury note yield rose above 4.11 on Monday as investors, this is CNBC, I think, a flurry of approaches from Federal Reserve policymakers. The yield on the 10-year Treasury rose about 5 basis points, actually 7 last time I looked. We'll see where it is in a minute. The yield on the 2-year Treasury is up 3 basis points. Yields and prices move in opposite direction. 1 basis point equals 0.01%. On a day without any major economic data releases, market participants are likely to scrutinize comments from officials of the U.S. Central Bank. Dallas Fed President Lori Logan, Minneapolis Fed President Neil Kashkarky, Kashkari, Kansas Fed President Jeff Schmidt, and San Francisco Fed President Mary Daly, all expected to deliver remarks today. And investors await clues as the Fed's monetary policy outlook. Fed Governor Christopher Waller said last week that future interest rate cuts will be less aggressive than September's jumbo rate cuts, expressing some concern the U.S. economy may be running hotter than the desired pace. While we do not want to overreact to this data, he said, we want to look through it. I view the totality of this data as a monetary policy should proceed with more caution as on the pace of rate cuts that was needed in the September meeting. So there you have the forward-looking, maybe the economy's too hot, maybe inflation isn't as under control as we'd like, maybe jobs are still fine, therefore we don't need to cut it all in November, and I think that's where what the market is thinking right now, even though I haven't seen what the betting odds may have changed on that. All right, this is breaking news this morning. The Conference Board of Leading Economic Indicators for the U.S. declined again by another 0.5% in September 2024 to 99.7, with 2016 equaling 100. This follows a 0.3% decline in August over the 6-month period between March and September 2024. It's fallen 2.6, more than its 2.2 decline over the previous 6-month period. All right, here we go. Here's where the details come in. We have weakness in factory new orders. We've seen this on the factory side, on the manufacturing side, continuing to be a major drag on the U.S. in the now and in the future. The global manufacturing slump persists, says Justiana Zabinski-Lamonica. Boy, how often has she had to spell her name in her lifetime, or at least as an adult? She's the senior manager business cycle indicators at the Conference Board. Additionally, the yield curve remained inverted in September. We know that changed recently. Additionally, but it's also inverted if you look at the 2-month and the 3-month. Additionally, the yield curve remained inverted, including building permits declined. Consumer outlook for future business conditions was tepid. We've seen this again with the confidence indexes, both of them not being good. Gains among other leading indicator, the LEI components, were not significant enough to offset weakness among the 4 gauges mentioned above. Overall, the LEI continued to signal uncertainty for economic activity ahead, and that is consistent with the Conference Board's expectation for moderate growth at the close of 2024 and into 2025. Now, remember, that expectation is based only on these various indicators, not on things like the politics, the presidential election, how things might come out after the election is over. So this is just based on those factors, not on the others. Anyway, so we continue to see the numbers weak on the leading indicators, which people aren't paying any attention to anymore. And I think probably overestimate or is less techy than it needs to be. That's my guess. I think they're missing on the tech side of what's going on. That's so heavily services oriented. I think their indicators are more manufacturing oriented. Okay, that's my takeaway this morning. Lesson to be learned from the current campaign for President of the United States. PR is better than advertising. Harris is outspending Trump by a ton, but Trump is all over the news shows and the podcasts, and he's creating all kinds of free news coverage every single day compared to her. And this is what Elon Musk knows, believes, and that's what he's been doing with all of his companies for all of time. And it's a winning solution. Plus, promotional ideas like what he's doing with the $1 million giveaway. This is smart business, although I still believe they should do some advertising at Tesla. I think maybe you agree. I don't know. Maybe you don't. All right, let's take a look at where the markets are now. Tesla has continued to struggle to get back into the green, but right now it is 90 cents down. This is kind of what I'm expecting all week. I wouldn't be surprised to see Tesla down to 215, 216, something like that on Wednesday when we go into earnings, because I think the expectation is either on or below the current price targets. The Dow is down 137.63. The NASDAQ is up 28.73. The S&P is down 4.00 on exactly the nose. The Magnificent Seven are mixed, with Apple and Google up slightly. Amazon, Meta, and Microsoft down, with Meta down $3.67, and NVIDIA up strongly this morning at 326. You know, I have to admit, if I had dry powder, I would probably have started investing in NVIDIA a few weeks ago, especially after Jensen's latest podcast and statements that he's been making about the future of the company. I think they're going to do very well. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. All right, let's go down to the magnificent, we did the Mag 7. We've got the Cathie Woods. They are all down. Bonds are up. Cathie Woods going to be down. This needs to turn around, or we need to come to the conclusion I did 6 months ago. No, way longer than that, probably 18 months ago. The current interest rates are not crazy. The treasury yields are not crazy. They are normal, especially if the economy is better than I think it is. These numbers are normal. And if this is normal and business can do this well with these yields, with these interest rates, then we better get used to it. Let me know if that makes sense in the comments below. Okay, percentage-wise, Dow is down 0.35, NASDAQ is up 0.14, S&P is down 0.10, and Tesla is down 0.5. Now let's go find out the reason why all of this is happening. It's because of this. The 10-year is up 7.7 basis points to 4.152. This is absolute nuttiness. The 3-month is actually down 0.3 of a basis point. That makes sense. The 2-month is up only 0.6 of a basis point. Now, remember, we did have that understanding earlier. In fact, if you look at this, over time, it happens here. The 3-month to 10-year difference now is only 50 basis points. And the 10-year to 2-month is only less than 60 basis points, compared to way over, like 130, remember? So we were told, the smart people told us, because I don't understand this inversion, especially on the short terms. They said it would be the 10-year going up, not so much the others coming down, that would bring this yield inversion to a conclusion. So that's what we're seeing right now. And we've already got the 2-year is already way back above. It's, for instance, it's only up 4.7 basis points right now. So it is, you know, on the other side of this deal, it's at 4 exactly, where the 10-year is at 4.152. That's substantially above. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at oil, which is up strongly this morning. So the oil not as strongly now, only 98 cents. So we're flirting with going back under $70 again, but it's a 70.20 right now for Texas Intermediate. Brent is up the same amount. Well, okay, 0.88 cents at 73.94. Anyway, and natural gas up 2.48. So recovering. It had been, going substantially down, back up now 2.52. Gold continues to crush it, 2,753. This would be another all-time high. Silver up 3.33 this morning, $34.35. It is also crushing it. Again, recent, not counting the one spike, definitely all-time high if you take that one out. Copper up 0.25 this morning at almost 4.0 this morning. And then you've got I'm sorry, this is the Bitcoin. What happened to the dollar? This is the dollar. This is the dollar. Okay, they're confusing me. The Japanese, the dollar is up against the yen, 0.47, down against the euro, 0.23. The Bitcoin is actually falling this morning. It was way up, and now it's coming way down at 67,280, down 12.30 this morning. And that gives you the full range of what is going on, except for did Tesla make any additional effort here to get back over? No, still sitting at down 94 cents. All right, here's what we got coming up. We got Brian White coming up first thing this morning. He claims, I know what we're going to talk about, and it's going to be, as always, when I get Brian on, it's always well worth watching. I think we're going to do a bunch of news, a bunch of the things that have happened the last week, get Brian's take on some of this stuff. And then Larry Goldberg tonight. Monday night is commonly, for some reason, what Larry and I do on Monday night turns out to be one of the best things every single week. And then we have yesterday morning, you know what? I'm not going to talk about yesterday morning. What I want to talk to you about is the Brian Wong videos from Friday and Saturday. I'm going to put both of those cards up right here. I know I've been pitching those, and I think a lot of you have already watched it. But if you haven't, you should. This is talking about what's going to happen in 2025. Brian, as you know, is a futurist. Brian really gets his head around these things that are and how they're likely to play out. I really think if you haven't watched those, you should go back. So card for the Friday and Saturday shows. All right, I think that's enough for now. It is a time for you to go either buy some Cybertruck bottle openers or possibly join Patreon. That would be absolutely lovely. It's been great talking to you.